If you love French manicures, but you really struggle to get that perfect French line, I'm going to show you a little trick how to make it work. What's up, nail crew? It's Nicole, your fellow nail obsessed DIYer. Today we are doing that super fun mani that you just saw. It's like a Mardi Gras theme that I decided to do. And I want to show you a little easy trick that I do when I'm using dip powders for French tips if the dip powder doesn't turn out exactly how you like it. So I had this idea in mind and I wanted to show you that it's really easy to do a French and add some glitter if your French dip lines don't come out perfectly like curved or flat, however you want them to be. You want to have whatever color you're doing for the tip. You want to have it in some kind of like little dip cup liner, or you can use the jar that the dip powder's in. Just make sure that you have something underneath to catch any powder that falls off if you don't have it in something else like the little dip cup liner. Then you just go and you stick the tip of your nail into that color. So for me, I wanted to use this darker color. It's called Beets Battlestar Galactica. The light purple is called My Life. And then the glitter that I'm gonna use is called Quack, Quack, Quack. And they're all from OG Dip Powder. Now, when you first apply your dip base, you wanna apply it over your entire nail so that once you dip the tip of your nail into the color that you want to be at the very tip, at the edge there, then you can just pour the other color over. It works really well if you're doing a darker color at the top and a lighter color at the back, or if you're doing, two lighter colors, like if you're doing white at the tip and then you do a lighter color at the back too, it works well. If you have like a really dark color that you're trying to do on the back with a lighter one at the edge, that can get a little bit dicey where some of like the darker color, if you try to do white tips with a black, base part, that would be a little bit harder because some of the black would get into the white. But since I'm doing the darker purple at the tip, and then a lighter purple at the back, it's really easy just to pour over the lighter purple. So I made sure that I had a second dip cup ready to go for my lighter purple so that I could just, as soon as I dip the tips in a couple of times to get like that color really soaked in, then I could just take the light purple and pour it over and make sure that my finger was over top of the other dip jar. And that is how easy it is to get your French going. But I wasn't sure if it would work as well as I wanted, and I didn't try to do it super evenly so that I could show you how to fix a French, give it a little pizzazz if your French line doesn't turn out exactly how you want. So I didn't do it super neatly or evenly on purpose. Also, I don't typically do things nice and evenly and neatly unless I absolutely have to, but I knew I wanted to show everyone how to just add a little bit of glitter and, make your French a little bit more fun. You want to take your glitter and you want to pour some out onto some kind of nail art palette, or I'm using this flexible plate from SJ3. It's the same place that I get my dip cups and my bottle holders and, my finger rests, all those fun things that I use. These flexible plates are great for when you want to place glitters because you can pour some out onto the flexible plate and then use a wax tool, or if you don't have a wax tool to pick up the glitters and place them, you can also use a toothpick or an orange wood stick and just dip those into the dip base, and then you can pick up the glitters. The nice thing about the wax tool is that the glitters just stick right to the wax and you can set them on your nail. It is easier, in my opinion, than using an orange wood stick or a toothpick, but if you don't have one, or you're like me and sometimes you break the wax tool because you're too rough, then a toothpick or orange wood stick works well too. So all you have to do when you're going through is place the little glitter pieces where you want them. The only place I put the dip base was right along the edge of where the two colors meet. And then I knew I could just place my glitters all where I wanted them. So in the glitter, there were some purpley pieces as well, but I chose to only do the green and the gold so that I could tie that into the glitter and that would really pop against the purples. And I absolutely loved how it turned out. I was so excited as I was doing it. I'm like, oh, this is gonna look so cool when it's all done. That is just such a simple way to add some extra pizzazz to your manicure, to your French, and especially if you messed up where your French lines meet, it's a really nice way to camouflage that. Or you could do it on purpose. So I basically did a little bit of both. I wasn't trying to make my French lines perfect, and I knew I wanted to add some glitter, and then I thought, oh, this would be really great too if your French lines weren't exactly even, then it's really great to use glitter to cover up a mistake. When I first started doing my own nails, I did not think that I would be into glitter nails as much as I actually ended up being now. At first, I thought, I'm not gonna wear all those. Like, those colors are just way too crazy. And then I started doing my own nails, and now wear like as crazy of colors as I want. I wanted to keep this part in showing how I spilled my clear dip powder. You know, I like to keep it real. Like, everything doesn't look nice and clean. This is just one small area of my nail desk that I use for filming so that it looks a little bit nicer and a little bit cleaner. But I am kind of messy when I do my nails. Actually, I'm a lot messy. So I like to keep that in just to keep it real and show you guys like this is what can happen when you're doing your nails. You can spill stuff. And then for some reason in my head, I thought that it would be smart to spray some isopropyl alcohol onto the clear dip powder and try to clean it up. And it just like made it clump everywhere and made a mess more. But I ended up cleaning it up quickly just so I keep going with my mani. We're going to get into how you apply these glitter shards if you're dipping it on your entire nail. So I'm going to do what I always do for my glitters, especially my chunky glitters. I like to pour it into one of my dip cups, shake up the dip a little bit, and then lay my nail flat into it. And since this has chunky, like different shaped glitter shards, you definitely don't want to pick up a lot of them on your first layer, because then when you do your second one, it'll end up being a bit too thick. So I like to just lay my nail flat into the powder and get like a nice base going and not pick up all of the big chunky pieces on my first dip. When you're working with flakes or foils, it's a little bit different because the flakes and foils, they lay so flat that it's okay if you pick up more. But when you're working with chunky glitters, you know, the name of them is chunky. So like you will make your nails extra chunky if you pick up too much on both dips. What I try to really do on the second dip is I shake up the dip powder that's in the cup. And if you don't have a dip cup, you can use a cupcake liner. You want to get those big pieces up to the top so that once you apply your dip base over your entire nail, you just lay your nail right onto where all those big pieces are. Then you can take like your orange wood stick, your cuticle pusher, your, pointy nail tool like I'm using, the cuticle cleanup tool, and you can just move the pieces around to where you want them. And that's all I did here. I was just moving a couple pieces around. You can add some extra chunky glitter pieces if like you see that, oh, there's an area on your nail that looks a bit sparse. There's not enough chunky glitter pieces on it compared to like the rest of your nail. There's more. All you have to do is take your wax tool or your orange wood stick or your toothpick and, pick up a couple extra chunky glitter pieces and just add them right to your nail. That is my go-to method for getting my chunky glitters to look really nice and even. It's not because like I apply them perfectly the first time. Nope, absolutely not. I like to add some extra pieces here and there if I don't get my chunky glitter to look exactly how I want it. And once in a while, like on my small nails, on my pinky, typically I don't have to add as many pieces of chunky glitter because my pinky nail is so much smaller than my other nails. So that one usually picks up enough chunky pieces that I just kind of have to move things around and maybe not add really pieces like I do the other nails. So if you have short nails, you absolutely can wear chunky glitters. I've seen people say like, oh, I have short nails, I can't wear chunky glitters. You totally can wear chunky glitters. Number one, it's all about the application, just making sure that your first layer isn't super thick. And then number two, just placing the pieces where you want them to be. And that's going to give you that beautiful chunky glitter look that is so fun to wear. Then I like to have a piece of tape on one of my fingers, my opposite hand, so that I can press the chunky glitter pieces down to really make sure they're sitting flat before I go and apply clear dip powder over. That's something that has really helped. So if you're struggling with chunky glitters and you just can't get them to lay flat, use a piece of tape. Masking tape or washi tape typically work the best, or painter's tape. Those three work the best to try to press down chunky glitters. The glitters and dip base don't stick as much, I've noticed, to that. So it works really well when you want to press those glitter pieces down. Then you can top everything with clear dip powder so you protect your colors, your flakes, your foils, everything, your glitter. You always want to protect it before you activate, because if you're somebody who likes to buff and shape a lot, and you maybe notice that your nail is a bit bumpy and you're like, okay, I have to go in there and buff and shape. If you try to do that without clear dip powder over, it's going to make your glitters look silver. So it kind of like rubs away the coloring of the glitters. If you're really struggling with dip powder nails and you're like, Nicole, I am so not ready to do any Frenchies, to even get into glitters yet, I want some help with basic dip mayonnaise, make sure you check out the first pinned comment. It has a link to my Ultimate Dip Nails 101 guide. It is everything you need to dip your nails at home, from prep to application to removal, over 45 pages, absolutely no gatekeeping, so that you can do your beautiful nails at home by yourself, and it's like having me beside you. Now we're going to jump back in so we can do our top coating. I did the filing and buffing and shaping off camera just so that I could get into top coating. I only do the filing, buffing, and shaping on camera once in a while. I typically just tend to skip over that part because I need to see my fingers up close to my face, so I don't usually have them in the view of the camera when I'm filing and buffing and shaping. That's actually why I rarely put that in videos. When you're doing your top coating, you want to make sure after you've done all your filing and buffing and shaping that you clean your nails really well with isopropyl alcohol and let them dry for a minute before you go in with your top coating. And make sure that you follow the top coating instructions for whatever dip liquids you're using. The timing is a little bit different across brands, so you definitely don't want to do the wrong timing on your top coat. I've seen way too much frustration about dip top coating in Facebook groups because people weren't following the instructions for whatever brand's dip liquids they were using. Join me in this next video where I'll show you how to buff, shape, file, and everything to get beautiful cuticle lines. Thanks for joining me today, Nail Crew.